Welcome to my show. My name is Marcell Johnson, and this is a freedom experience.
I love the freestyle.
Oh yeah, like I freestyle sometimes to the intro beat, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know that. But man, I want to thank you for tuning into the show. Welcome back. So today is like a special episode for me because I have somebody here, my cousin, Stacy Johnson, man. So y'all don't know, but she is like a gem to my family. She's always just been chosen by God to do some incredible things. She's one of the reasons why I'm here today. Her encouragement, you know what I mean? Her gift of just belief. She has a supernatural gift of faith where it just will enable anybody, no matter who you are. If she speaks life into you, when she puts that faith into you, you accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish. But I ask you guys to comment, subscribe, like this video. Tell us, you know what I'm saying, what you're getting out the videos and stuff. I appreciate y'all and I love y'all so much. But man, Stace, can you believe it?
Oh my goodness. It's surreal. It's surreal.
Why do you say that?
Because I just remember at the beginning.
Yeah.
It starting where you started. I remember even how, like, when we were younger and just seeing where we came from and to where we're at now and what you're doing now. So seeing the promise and seeing it actually folding out, it's amazing. It's amazing to see. So it's surreal. It's like a dream.
It's such a dream. And it's like, I'm kind of like in that position where I'm on the journey. And I'm seeing you keep going from glory to glory to glory. And it's just a beautiful thing because I'm seeing you do that same thing. Hold on. I want to introduce her correctly. You feel me? That's what we do around here. So, Stacy Johnson, mother of twins. Freshly. These are fresh from heaven's gates. You feel me? Lawyer, you know what I mean? Mental health and child welfare advocate.
Yeah.
Whenever we talked about that and I really thought about it, it's like, you really have been an advocate before that, before there was even like language to it. You know what I mean? Like you've been kind of advocating and been all about mental health since we were kids. We didn't call it that, you know what I'm saying? But we had conversations that really spoke to mental health and just being aware of what you're thinking about. But I wanted to ask you, how does one get to where you are today?
That's a loaded question. However, I really feel like it is trusting the process, number one. You really have to trust the process because it is a process. And no one starts off, and I'm reliving this with the babies now. They're learning to crawl, and there's steps that happen for them to learn how to crawl. Like they get on their knees and they rock first. And then they'll start doing movement, and then they'll crawl. Then they're walking, they're climbing, right? And it's the same thing with us. So for me, I feel like it's a process. And then you have to be willing to do the hard work. I know a lot of people might call it shadow boxing or whatever the case may be. You have to be able to focus on you without giving accountability to anybody else. And what I mean by that is whatever I have that I need to work on, that I need to improve, let me take ownership about that. Let me accept it. And now let me figure out how to move forward. I also had to understand, at least for me, that I can't be a self-healer. There's things I don't know, and there's things I can't bring myself to because I'm not that advanced in it. And so in order to get there, I need someone who's advanced to take me there. So I go talk to a therapist.
Come on,
right?
So this is okay.
It's that context where I'm not going to keep everything bottled in because suppression is not the same thing as dealing with the issue and getting to the place where you're healthy, you're free, and you're whole.
Wow. So if somebody was at home and they were suppressing something and they didn't even know, because I know in past generations, suppressing it was normal. So what does that actually mean to other people who's watching?
Something that bothers you, you don't really speak about it. You say, look, I can take it. I can absorb this. I can take it on myself. Something that you're dissatisfied with. You know, I know there are a lot of people who are high functioning, depressed individuals out there. So looking at those aspects and looking at truly stopping. Slow things down. I know how it is to be fast-paced and moving fast, but stopping to say, wait a minute, how is this impacting me? Me being silent about it, not working on things or suppressing it. It's going to come out in the worst time.
In ways you didn't even...
Oh, my goodness. with the people you never wanted to come out with.
Wow.
And then you'll have to deal with consequences that you never thought that you would have to deal with. If you flip out and you're in public and you have that meltdown because you suppressed it, it boils up, it overflows, you could be in jail. Right? There's a lot of different things that can happen. And so I would say you have to do a self-check. And it's okay to just say, let me just talk to somebody to see if there's anything that I can work on. Even if you think you're good and that you're older, because I'm an older millennial. So even if you're older and you feel like, I got this handled, you probably don't. It's okay to talk to somebody who's not a yes man and somebody who's disinvested in you as far as they don't know you. Talk to somebody and say, what's your impression of me and what do you think I can work on?
Wow. To me, it's so crazy because Stacy like oozes with wisdom. God's blessed her with wisdom and understanding. And I think for years, like, you were judgmental at one point.
Yes.
And I think, like, because now when I look at her, she has so much love and so much just, like, understanding. And it's like a transformation process has taken place. So I want to ask you this. Take me back to your childhood and tell me, what does that look like?
Ooh, it looks extreme and intense.
Come on.
I would say that I do not look like what I grew up.
At all.
I don't look like where I came from, so thank God for that.
Thank you.
I would say that I was a dreamer. I had tons of hope. I always had a twinkle in my eye.
Yeah.
And I always knew my environment was a huge impact on where I could end up. I learned how to compartmentalize. I learned how to suppress, and I knew what gave me kind of awards or praise.
Yeah.
That then led itself to how I was in my early adulthood life.
Wow.
Right? So there's actions and behaviors that I had because it gave me praise, meaning being judgmental. Or
which she broke out of that. She broke out of that.
You know what does it? God will humble you.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So
she threw that
God
in
will
there.
humble you. It's called you reap what you sow.
Okay.
And the world might call it karma. And karma comes from for everybody. So for me, it is what I grew up in. It was a hard knock life. And there's things that I experienced that people would never believe I experienced.
This is true.
Because God has definitely worked on me, and I've worked to be polished and to be who I wanted to be. Like, I'm not pretending to be somebody who I'm not. It's about where I wanted to be, what I saw and what I didn't see, and where I saw myself at.
Right.
And so growing up was rough.
I remember, like, you were such a good, like, Stacy was a good kid, but she was also sneaky. Like, she knew how to, like, not get in trouble, but still do things that, so, like, she doesn't realize this, but so many of, like, little gems I took from her as a kid. Like, one thing is, like, we grew up, of course, in the hood. We suffered from poverty and different stuff like that, but she always just believed outside of the box. Like, she was a great scholar. She did great academically, and it made me feel like, you know what? I can do good academically. You know what? I can have these dreams, these aspirations. I can still do it. And at some point, you even got, I know you dealt with rejection. And I know you ended up in foster care and everything like that. Take me through the process of dealing with that rejection at a young age.
Ooh. So there are certain things that a child should get from their parents at a young age that allow you to know acceptance and that you belong and that the certain types of hurt that you experience in the world that you're not experiencing at home. And I think that for me, I learned rejection too young. And I say that because I held on to it, and it was a fear that held me back for so long.
Wow.
And so rejection, in the fear of rejection and what that did translated in so many ways, it impacted how my job performance. It impacted me getting advancements because I just didn't go after certain things for the fear of rejection. I didn't finish a book for the fear of rejection. Or criticism. I didn't finish certain things because of the fear of rejection.
Wow.
And so rejection, when you get it first from your parents, and it's not from the world. So what? My friend doesn't like me. You're not my friend no more.
Like, we get over that.
I know. I got a brother, sister. I got, you know. But when your first rejection is from your mother, and that's not what she's trying to do, but that's how you interpret it as a child.
Right.
I had self-harm. There's a lot of things that I did, whether it was burning myself, cutting my hair. There's a lot of things that I did that were self-harm because of rejection. And then translating it up through the years, when you get older, the way you harm yourself is you don't allow yourself to advance. You don't believe in yourself the way you should. I didn't believe that I was great and that I could do well and that I was beautiful and all this stuff until I let that go.
Yeah, because now Stacy, like, she's confident. She'll low-key build your self-esteem up in the midst of just building her own up. Like, you'll be like, oh, well, hold up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Well, then, yeah, I'm blessed too. Like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? But I think, like, you did an incredible job at that. And now that kind of explains to me why you went so hard academically.
Yes.
Because, like, Stacy, shout out Gerald, shout out Zakia. What's up, y'all? Those are my cousins, too.
Hey, y'all.
And at the end of the day, they were cool and smart in their own right. But Stacy just tried to always be like an overachiever. And now I realize it was attached to like not being rejected. And it was attached to getting that affirmation.
Correct.
And I didn't realize it, but me just seeing that and going after that, I received a lot of affirmation and a lot of attention just from being smart, from being somebody who was an overachiever. And it all stemmed from not wanting to be rejected. And I'm just now putting that together. I just felt like I just love excellence and I'm just a person of integrity. Meanwhile, it was because of the fact I did not want to be rejected. So I thank you. Like, this is what I mean. Revelation just flows from her and from God's spirit. So I wanted to ask you, you now have twins.
Yes.
Oh, what is it like? And she has a boy and a girl twin.
Yes.
What is it like having these twins? And then I have a double question and another question attached to that.
That is also surreal because it was a journey. To get there, and I really had to hold on to God's promise for 10 years.
She did. Like, Stacy, can I say this real quick?
Yeah.
Stacy would always say, I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to be a mom. I'm going to be a wife. I'm going to be a mom. Even in the midst, as she got older, and the doctors and other people was like, it's going to be more complications and stuff like that, other issues and stuff like that. But she would be like, I don't care about that. I'm going to be a mom. And I mean, she not only became a mom of one, but of two. And I'm seeing, like, what manifestation looks like. She believed that. And she spoke it. And, like, a year later, it was like, I'm pregnant with twins. And then, like, a year later, it's like a boy and a girl. And now we're at 6 months.
8. Time flies,
a year later, they're 1 year. Like, bro, like, this is what I'm saying. You could really have kids. So what will you teach your kids differently than what you've been taught? Like, what are some things you're like, I know for a fact I'm going to teach them different than this?
So initially, I need them to be secure in who we are and that we're going to be there for them, meaning their parents.
Wow.
So that's number one, stability. Teaching them what stability really looks like. And keeping things separated. There's certain things I never want them to see young because it helps to develop the brain differently. Meaning you don't need to see adult parties. You don't need to see adult activity. You don't need to hear certain things. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to hear your parents have a disagreement, but you need to see how we reconcile and resolve it. Because then you need to learn how to work through conflict. I need them to understand that it's okay to talk about your feelings, but here's how you handle it. It's okay to be upset. It's okay. So affirmation as well as accountability.
I love this
as well as that no matter what, I'm going to love you. You can talk to me. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to criticize you.
Come on.
But I'm going to help you process this. I'm with you and I'm here with you. So that's really the fundamentals in how to pray, because and that their prayer works, what the Holy Ghost really feels like, the Spirit of God feels like. And so I started that practice pregnant. I needed them to feel the Spirit of the Lord and what it really felt like. And now when they sleep, when they're up, I pray over them. I need them to feel the Spirit of God. I don't have to say anything. You can feel it. So those are the two things. One, that whole, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to just develop and be normal. It takes some things that we've learned as a culture that is linked to slavery out of the equation for
Give me one example.
Spankings.
Come on.
I know a lot of times we talk about spare the rod, spoil the child.
Right.
But a lot of things that we do as a culture is really rooted out of slavery.
Right.
And to keep us in check as slaves.
Right.
And so when you talk about, well, if corporal punishment is not spared as an older adult or an older child, then we need to teach our children corporal punishment at home. Not true. You don't have to teach it in a way of smacking or hitting. It is called, my children can understand. They are intelligent and have to respect that they're people. Therefore, if I want them to treat people the way that people ask to be treated, I have to treat them with dignity and respect first.
So do you believe in, like, smacking their hands and stuff like that? Like, no, don't touch that. Smack, smack, smack.
No, not at a certain age. And kids don't translate it the way we think.
They
don't understand. So, like, my babies now, they like to climb. They're starting to climb on things. And I just take them down, sit them back down, because they don't know how to hold themselves up fully. So they're constantly falling. But it's part of learning. So I have to be comfortable with them learning. So yeah, like spanking, I understand. I'm not saying you're necessarily wrong. I'm just saying for me, I don't believe it's as beneficial as we have been
made it
taught
to be.
that
Yeah,
it
because
is.
I was going to say, I'm probably like, but you know what I will say, when you're older, this is the reason why I was glad like that I had a dad who was older. You're a lot more patient with your kids. When you're younger and they're able to grow up with you, the good thing is you're younger, but then you take out all of your frustration, all of your childhood traumas get passed down. But being an older parent allows for you to be more patient and to have more understanding on raising your kids. So I understand that, but I'm still probably going to smack my kids and pop them, and you feel me? They gonna get popped.
You could do that. I'm not saying I'll never get to a moment where I might not like, hey, top. But it will not be my
abusive, like
correct. I don't want my children to be fearful and afraid. I want them to respect and reverence me and their father like they should. But also know I'm a big adult. They're a little child.
Yeah, and
you have to learn the personality of your child. Spankings don't work for everybody.
This is true.
And so like it's just not, and it takes a lot of energy to beat a child. Let's be honest. Like you will be sweating at the end of it, and they'll be done crying in a couple minutes.
I'm sweating right now. Just think about how I used to get beat.
So,
my dad used to be like, "You're getting 3 lickings."
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Bro, like what's up with you?" It's a
lot of work. It's a lot of work.
work.
And I'd rather talk it out with them to understand why they're being disciplined and not just discipline them.
What have the twins taught you personally as a person?
I don't have as much patience as I thought I did. Wow. Right? Because they're crying and they're fussy. That's how they communicate. It's normal. Right. And as a mom,
she said it's normal.
Yeah,
like,
it's normal.
It irritates
it's
me,
normal.
but it's normal for them.
And as a mom, I have to sometimes step out the room.
Yeah.
So that I am not sharing my energy with them because I'm frustrated. And I'm like, you know what? You're crying and that's okay because you're supposed to cry because you don't have words yet. So you're frustrated because I'm not paying attention to what you really need. Let's figure this out together. And I literally say that to them, but when they're both crying, because twins, multiples are very different than having one child.
This is true.
So when they're both crying, we call it tag teaming you. It can be overwhelming, and they'll play off of each other.
Like,
and so I'll put them in their cribs. I say, let me step away because mommy needs a moment to breathe.
Smart.
I don't have as much patience as I thought I did.
I love that because a lot of times you don't realize, especially me thinking about a baby, let alone 2. So it's a whole different story with having 2 babies. But I wanted to say a lot of women struggle with having kids and they feel like, it's not possible or I'm barren or, you know what I'm saying, the doctors, and they listen to everybody else. Can you talk to some people at home who feels like, you know what I mean, they are not able to have babies, but you just want to give them hope? You could look at, I think, this camera. Should she look at camera 1? Yeah, camera 1.
So what I would say to you is you have to really trust what God has told you about your womb. And you have to be able to cancel out what other people say. It's truly whose report are you going to believe and on whose timing does it happen.
Wow.
And sometimes it's delayed. It's not a no, and it's not going to be fulfilled. It's the delayed promise because you're not quite where you need to be in order to be fulfilled. God understands your expectations and how you want to be a parent, and sometimes you can't fulfill that until 10 years later. And so it's not a no, it is let's delay this because you need to get to where you need to go. But do everything you're supposed to do. There are things that I had to do that I was accountable for, and it took me time to be accountable to do that. And once I didn't even realize I was pregnant and was pregnant with twins. So yes, I would say hold on to what God told you and hold on to that hope and that faith. And it can be hard. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's well worth it.
Listen, if you're trying to have kids, send this message to somebody who you know sincerely wants to have a baby and they're having a hard time, because there's people out here who God puts in front of you as examples to show you, look, this is what I want you to do. I want you to keep trusting me. I want you to keep speaking. I want you to work on you in the process of waiting on me. Work on you in the process of waiting on me. That's so beautiful. So
can I share this really quickly? I'm sorry.
Yep, for sure.
Because I know there are a lot of people out here that don't talk about this, but I have a condition called PCOS. And it is the #1 cause of infertility for women. And I have PCOS, and what I had to start doing is saying, okay, God, this is going to be a hard journey. Okay. Because there's no cure for PCOS.
Wow.
They treat it with metformin, and then they tell you to lose weight. And what I'm saying is, it's a hormonal imbalance. So you work with your doctors, but what I had to do was, I had to pray every step of the way. Okay, God, I know this is what I need to do. I need to be consistent on taking my medications. I need to be consistent with doing this and that. Please help me in this process. Wow. Allow me to see me the way you see me. And once I have that belief in me like you do, then I can accomplish this. And that's how my journey started when it came to, wait a minute, this is not happening as easily as I thought. I got the diagnosis, and then here I am. So,
wow. So basically, even if you have a diagnosis
Yep.
against you, if the enemy tries to say, you know what, not only am I going to try to stop you, but I'm going to put a diagnosis, a disease in you to try to stop you from having it. With the Spirit of God, with the faith of God, you can push past all of that and still be a receiver of God's promises. And that can go to any area of your life. Anything you feel like you really want. All you got to do is really stand at that gate with God and keep talking to him, but work on yourself in the process of waiting on God.
Yep.
That was beautiful. That made me even more proud of Stacy, because now I know you fought even harder than what the natural eye would see. We thought like Stacy, she going to speak it, she going to believe it, it's going to happen. But like she was really behind closed doors fighting a whole nother fight. This is why she's so important to me, y'all. Like you got to follow her. But all right, so I want to ask you another difficult question, but it's something that we just keep it real here and we tell the truth.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about church hurt.
Okay.
Because I know that a lot of people deal with this. A lot of people deal with church hurt, and they put that and they take that frustration out on God instead of realizing that God works through imperfect people. And some of those people will hurt you, but you have to get back up and stay connected to God. So how did you deal with church hurt, and how difficult was it when it came to processing that?
So how I dealt with it was I made sure to draw closer to God.
Wow.
Because I understood very well what people do is not necessarily a reflection of God.
Right.
And so
a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I had to battle with, God, I know you're saying this, but they're saying that.
Wow.
And God telling me, I need you to listen to me.
Wow.
And it seemed contradictory to what I was so used to. Because, again, affirmation. I needed to get Stacy, that's good, that's this, and that's that from other people. And then it just focused on what God was telling me. That's the first thing I did.
Wow.
I shut everything out. I isolated myself.
Right.
Not from church at first, but isolated myself from the noise. I don't need your opinion. I really just need to pray and hear from God for myself to make sure I'm hearing from God and it's not me.
Wow. Really hearing God for yourself and not for with the pastor and the dean. Like, I need to hear what God got to say. A lot of the times, that's where I remember that judgment was at. Whenever you was real engulfed in like the church culture, you had that judgment. And it wasn't even like you were trying to be judgmental. It was just like
everything I did. And I went on an apology tour. See, this is why I said, what God did is what God humbled me, because through that rejection and that church hurt, it humbled me. I didn't look at everybody else. I looked at me. Wow. And through that, when I was just focusing on God, I said, oh God, this is how I made people feel. And it wasn't intentional. This is how I made people feel uncomfortable around me. This is how I made people this and that. And it saddened me because I wasn't reflecting truly the heart of God, especially to people who aren't religious, who aren't in church. And I didn't understand that because what I was told is I'm doing everything right. But I'm going like, oh, I'm not going to stay at this cookout too long because y'all doing this and that. Yeah. That's not it. And so God humbled me.
I love that.
Kicking everything out and me losing my whole community.
I love that.
And so I went on an apology tour, picking up phones for those who I could still apologize for, because some people aren't alive to apologize to them. So going to, oh, I'm so sorry. I know I was like this and I was like that. I'm so sorry that I made you feel this way. And for people who I didn't contact, that I don't remember, look, I apologize because now I know what it feels like. Now I know what it feels like for somebody to treat you a certain way because you don't line up with what they believe God wants you to line up to. And so that's that. And it was a difficult process that took about 2.5 years.
This is so beautiful to me. Like, to me, this is what God looks like. This is what real, like, discipleship. This is what transformation looks like whenever you're able to humble yourself. And God says if you humble yourself, he'll exalt you. Yeah. And this is the reason why he keeps exalting Stacy. And y'all will follow her years from now, and she'll be exalted to a whole new level because she knows how to humble herself now. So whenever you're talking to the church leaders, and maybe there's church leaders who watches this, and they're hurting people right now, and you forgave them, and you're able to forgive, what is something you would say? I'm going to have you talk to the church people who got hurt and the church leaders who are hurting. What would you say to both parties?
I understand that church hurt can cripple you. For those that experience church hurt, that there are people who never recover from it. Yeah, because there are layers to it. And I understand, too, there's gaslighting that happens to make you believe that church hurt doesn't exist. It does. And all I can say is, build your relationship with God outside of what somebody else did. Learn the scripture and the word for yourself and have God help you to interpret it. And then talk to the body is not just the pastor. It's not just the people that are inside of your congregation. I was able to connect to Marcell to say, hey, I know you're a man of God and you read scripture, you study the word. What is this? Interpret it for me, because I do understand too, where 2 or 3 are gathered. You need to talk to the body and you need to be acquainted and associated. So that's for the people who experience church hurt. Take it at the pace that you and God have agreed to take it at for your healing. You deserve to be healed, and you deserve to be able to see God through the lens that God wants you and needs you to see him. That's number one.
Okay.
Those that are out there that are hurting individuals. You're hurting individuals not all the time intentionally. Some people are very intentional.
Right.
But for those that are hurting, those that are out there, again, stepping back. There are actions you're doing in the workplace that's causing church hurt. That is embedding church hurt for people who aren't even in your congregation. There are things that you've been dishonest about, that you have done, that you didn't sit yourself down for and reconcile with God. And it is spewed over the congregation when you got up, and you never took accountability for it before God, let alone the people. It is being able to be humbled before God, not trying to put on a facade. When you're wrong, and then making sure you apologize. You're never too high to apologize.
Hey, look. What she just said, rewind that and listen to it again. And for both parties, because a lot of times the student becomes the teacher becomes the student again. So listen, that's for both parties. But I wanted to shift gears a little bit and ask you about what it was that you attribute all your success to. Because everything you're doing with working with children and helping moms and dads and all the stuff that you're doing, can you explain what it is you're doing and then explain what do you attribute to that?
So I'm an advocate through and through. I work right now in child welfare, and I have for more than half of my life, about 20 years now, in doing this work. And so I do this and that. How about I say that?
Yeah, that's
but it's
it.
all in helping.
Helping.
And advocating, and I'm a good advocator, right?
Right.
Love the adversarial process. But what I will say is, what attribute to it is nature and nurture. And I feel like that's the easiest way to sum it up. Life experiences.
Nature.
Me being able to see things. Me being able to see the impact of the crack epidemic. Me being able to be the, what they call it, casualty. Unexpected casualty.
Facts, like,
of a lot of different things. Experiencing molestation, rape. Experiencing all those things.
Come on.
I feel like it gave me an awareness that a lot of people might not have. And because I'm a very deep thinker, I process it over and over and over again until I have that understanding and come to a resolve within myself. So I think that mixed with education, mixed with people who believe in me, mixed with my faith and understanding God, and then understanding kind of grace. Yeah, and true love, authentic love, and what that looks like. So I feel like that's really what attribute to where I'm at now. Hard work. Yeah. Hard work.
Hard work. You're a hard worker, and you get stuff done. Stacy gets stuff. One thing about you is you get it done. Yeah. If you know her, you know she gets it done. Yeah. So I want to play a game real fast. Okay. I wanted you to sing a song because y'all don't know this, but when I was a little kid, my mom took me to a talent show, and Stacy was the one on stage singing. Yeah. And she was like really blowing and looking like, to me, I was like, oh my gosh, she's like a superstar. Like, my big cousin is going places. Like, I always looked at her as somebody who like, wow. And I think God did that on purpose, and it sparked something in me. But do you still sing?
So I am now doing like vocal exercises and such because being pregnant, the hormones had impacted my range. Wow. Okay. And now that the hormones are coming out of my body, it takes about a year. I can tell week by week that I'm gaining octaves back. Yeah. And my range is coming back. So now I'm being able to practice without just wind coming out.
Wow. So, what song did you sing at that talent show?
Ooh, the first one was Monica, from Space Jam.
Space Jam, the movie. Space Jam. That was it too.
Across the ocean for you. For you, I will. Oh yeah.
Listen. Yeah. You was on stage blowing.
First grade. I think I was in the first grade.
For real?
Yeah, I think it was in the first grade.
Wow.
First or second grade, yeah.
So that means I was young, and I was looking like, oh my God. That's so crazy. It's like you have different moments in your life that's stamped on your mind. That's one of them for me. So let's play a different game since she's not going to sing for us today. Okay. Let's play this game, right? So it's something new that I'm coming up with, and it's called You Know What.
Okay.
Right? You know what?
Okay.
So this is something in the black community. If you're white, a lot of black people start off this phrase where they'll be like, you know what? And it's just something that you say. But right, I'm gonna give you a scenario. So somebody's at your house. They're complaining about your twins. They're tired of hearing the babies cry, and they feel like, you know, get these babies or blah, blah, blah. They're irritated with your babies and they take their frustration out on you. What do you say? You got to start the phrase off with, you know what?
Well, you know what? I'm not trying to catch a charge. I got to keep my clearances. Because you might get smacked. I hit adults if necessary. I won't hit a kid. But you know what? I think it's your time to go.
Ooh,
and you will not be coming back to my house. And we will not be friends. I'm okay with cutting people out. You know what? And I don't care if you're a family foe, whatever. You are now, no, you know, and you will apologize to my children before you leave. Thank you.
See,
goodbye.
What y'all don't realize is as smart and as like witty as Stacy is, she's real short. She gets the, like, if you want somebody to get cussed out without no profanity, this is who you call. She cuts people with just words of just straight and direct truth. Yeah. So I love that. So you know what? You basically was telling people you want to apologize and you going to get out.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what? You
and don't call me after this. Yeah, I won't call you either.
Hey, so, all right. So the next thing I want to talk about is like business and entrepreneurship aspirations. What are some things you can share with us that you want to project out into the future?
So I will be completing my book. That's one of the things that's major.
Yeah.
At least the first one. I need to complete that before
the
one
she has
second.
Books in her.
And I've already started the writing on that. So I want to complete that because I do think it will help a lot of people. But I had to work through some things on my own.
That's right.
Before being able to put a book out.
I love it.
And getting permission from those that will be in the book that they're okay with being in it. That's number one.
Period.
Two, there is an idea that I have now working with getting it patented.
Okay.
So I can't share too much because people are thieves.
I love it.
Yeah. So I need to get it patented or whatnot, but it's in the hair industry. And then I have a consulting firm, which I'm trying to figure out with some of my other alumni that are in that were in foster care, kind of where to take it. And give them opportunities that otherwise they wouldn't get just from being alumni. So, yeah, that's what I'm working on.
So we're going to look back on this, and Stacy is not just going to be working on it. She's going to be completing it. You feel me?
Yes.
So, and I'm holding her accountable. I'm using this video to hold her accountable to, you know what I'm saying, make her do it. All right, so what is something you would tell the teenage Stacy?
Ooh, all your hard work will pay off. It will be very worth it. All the trials, tribulations, the tears nobody sees, the cry outs, the self-harm, it will all be worth it. You will be where you never thought you would be. Wow.
So I love to end this show with words of wisdom. So everybody that comes on the show at the end, I ask them, like, what are your words of wisdom? What's a mantra that you kind of live by that helped you persevere through many seasons? What are some words of wisdom that you can share with the people?
You are worth it. You are so worth the hard work. You are so worth the necessary impact. You are worth it. You are enough. And look at yourself every day. See yourself through God's eyes.
Man, as you're saying that to them, I'm receiving it for me. Because it's like, look at all this stuff that like I persevered and went through. Like, she lost her mom as a teenager.
Young adult.
And then I lost my dad in 2020, and she helped carry me through that process. But, like, what is it like seeing me where I'm at right now?
I'm very proud. I'm extremely proud. It's a humbling thing to see. And it is a victory. And I say that because things like what you've experienced can halt you and stop you. If the enemy can't stop you, he'll delay you. And delay you significantly, so you miss your Kairos moment. And you didn't miss your Kairos moment. And so for me, to see that you can work through it, and to continue to plow through with dedication and determination, and still have the same drive and love for God, I'm proud. Wow. And for me, it gives me a great example to look at. So I'm proud.
Listen, man. She just is a gem. She's so, like, if you ever mess with Stacy, just know that, like, you got a lot of stuff to look forward to. Like, count your days. You feel me? She is so precious to not just me, but so many people. Anybody to know Stacy is to love Stacy. So, man, y'all know what my words of wisdom is. It's time. Find freedom. It's time.
Find God.
Hey, let's go.
Yes.
I love y'all so much for tuning in, man. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. We out. Peace.
A freedom experience.